Welcome back, everyone, to another Khan Academy tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about multiplying the binomials, and this is the intro exercise for the Khan Academy. Now, what does it mean by a binomial? A binomial means two terms. So you can see here we have a parenthesis with 1, 2 terms inside of it, and we have another with 1 and 2 terms inside of it. So we're multiplying two binomials together. How does this work? Well, if we just had one by itself, for example, if we had x times x minus 4, you would use the distributive property, wouldn't you? So you do x times x gives us x squared, and then we carry the minus sign down, and we have x times 4 gives us 4x. That would be our first answer. Well, we can't just do that because that's not what the problem says. Instead, we also have to deal with this negative 3. So we're going to do the exact same thing with this negative 3. So we distributed the x, we're going to distribute the negative 3. So we distribute the negative 3, and we get negative 3x, and then we get plus, because negative times negative, we get plus 12. Now, what we need to do is we have to combine these two together. So we have x squared minus 4x minus 3x plus 12. That gives us x squared minus 7x plus 12. So we're going to go ahead and type that in for our answer. X squared minus 7x plus 12. X squared minus 7x plus 12. Okay, on to the next one. Now I'm going to show a little bit slightly different way. That's what we saw in terms of what does it mean to do essentially two sets of distribution. Now, often you'll hear FOIL, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but first I want to show you what I like to do. So, essentially what I did in that previous problem is I distributed the x first to both terms inside. So I'm going to do that first. X times x gives me x squared, plus, because it's a positive x times 7, gives me 7x. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it all along the same line, but now I'm just going to distribute the negative 4 right here on the problem inside the parentheses. So I have negative 4 times x gives me negative 4x, and then negative 4 times a positive 7 gives me a negative 28. Whenever you do binomials multiplication, you're almost always going to have some terms that you can combine. Why did I circle 7x and 4x, or negative 4x? Because they're both like terms. They have the same variable to the same degree, the same exponent. They're both x to the first. There's no other x squared, so we're not going to worry about him. And there's no other constants, meaning numbers by themselves, so we're not going to worry about the negative 28. What we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and copy those down as they were. But the 7x we're going to combine with the negative 4x to give us positive 3x and then minus 28. So our final answer is going to be x squared plus 3x minus 28. X squared plus 3x minus 28. I'm just going to double check that. That's what I got. Ready to move on. Okay. Here we have two negative signs, so you just need to be careful. Anytime you have negatives, it's not like you can just mindlessly and brainlessly approach these problems. You have to be careful, especially when you see some negatives. Now, what you hear probably from most of your teachers is the FOIL method. This is the third way a lot of my students like to use these problems. So when we're talking about FOIL, we're talking about the first terms being multiplied together. And I should have changed the colors. Let me change the colors here. So I'm going to do first, and then we have the outside terms. I'm putting an O by the outside terms. Then we have the inside terms. I'm going to put an I by the inside terms. And then I have the last terms. And these are the last terms. Now, what this essentially means is it's just what we did before. We're distributing each of these terms inside the binomial, and we're multiplying it by the other terms in the other binomial. And a way to do that is to label the first, last, outside, inside, inside. Okay? So essentially what we're doing, oops, I forgot my I and I forgot my L. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to do x times x, which gives us x squared. That's my first term. Now I'm going to multiply my outside terms. So I get x times negative 4. That gives me negative 4x. Now I go to my inside terms. I get negative 5 times x, negative 5x. And then I go to my last term. So I have negative 5 times negative 4 gives me positive 20. One thing I do like about FOIL is it kind of gives you a frame of reference in terms of what gives you kind of like a map of what terms we're talking about at specific times. But one thing I don't like is I don't like that students think they have to go in this order. That's not true. In the next problem, I'm going to show that you can use something other than FOIL and still get the same answer. So we got x squared minus 9x plus 20 because negative 4x minus 5x is negative 9x, and the x squared and the 20 don't have any other common terms. So we have x squared minus 9x, I think it was at plus 20, plus 20. Okay, now I'm going to show you, before we showed that first, outside, inside, last, well, you could change the order. It doesn't matter because we're going to be combining the terms at the end anyway. Which ones you multiply in which order isn't exactly important, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, so first, I'm going to label first, was it outside, outside, inside, inside, and then last. Okay, now let's go in a totally different order. Let's go outside. Let's start with outside. So I'm going to do x times negative 5. I get negative 5x. Let's go inside next. So I go inside is positive 3 times x, positive 3x. Now let's go, I don't know, let's go first. So first we have x times x gives me positive x squared. And then let's go last after that. So we have 3 times negative 5, we get negative 15. Okay, so what we're going to get here, we're going to combine these guys together to get negative 2x plus x squared and then minus 15. One thing you should do is you should always write this in standard form, which means we write it from our biggest power, 2 being our biggest power, down in decreasing order to our lowest power. So this is technically negative 15 times x to the 0 is still equal to negative 15. That's our lowest power of x, therefore this is in standard form right here. Okay, notice how we still did the same thing, but we did outside, inside, first, last, so you could call that OIFL. Whatever it is, you can do whatever order you want as long as you're getting all these combinations correctly and doing the proper multiplication, keeping in mind the negative. So we're going to write x squared minus 2x minus 15. X squared minus 2x minus 15. Now I gave you about 4 different ways to do these multiplying binomials. Pick one that it speaks to you, that you can do consistently, and that is my advice. Hold on, there we go. I wanted to hear the sound. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope to see you next time on Wes Explains Best. Take care.